firearms in general are not new to African Americans, Native Americans, so forth, so on. I think what we're seeing, though, is economic power. I mean, I grew up, there were always shotguns in the house, rifle. That is not necessarily polarized based on, social aspects or even culture necessarily. Handguns, though, I think are in a different genre. And I think what we're seeing, or the piece that people are forgetting when it comes to women in particular, is we're just now getting to a generation where Black women are the most educated in the country. And with that comes socioeconomic power. They actually have money now, right? And so there's enough money to go out and buy the handguns. And so I think what we're seeing is a perfect storm. It's not just the social unrest. It's not just COVID. We're also getting a generation of females in general who are financially independent and can go and buy firearms. And I think that's something that has not necessarily been as strong up until now. That's certainly impacting what we're seeing in terms of what's happening at the gun stores.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Season 2 of the Liberal Gun Owners Lens podcast. I am Miyanovich, and I will be your pilot on an unprecedented ride through the most innovative and forward-thinking analysis of the relationship between humans and guns on planet Earth. The entire nexus between guns and public safety needs a wake-up call, and Liberal Gun Owners is here to rock that party. Are you somebody who thinks you know what's going on with guns and public safety? I don't give a shit. I'm dragging your ass into the future whether you like it or not.
So you got bit by the bug pretty good. Mm-hmm. And it went from there. How fast after that were you like, I want to be an instructor, I want to teach other women, that kind of thing?
Not too quickly. I really enjoyed it. I signed up for some classes. I did have some terrible experiences, but finally found two great mentors and took quite a few classes from them. And it was one of those mentors that said, hey, you should consider being an instructor. Never imagined myself in that position. And so I started taking those classes and learning even more. And honestly, I found that becoming an instructor made me a better shooter. So once I got on that path, it was sort of a, downhill from there, kind of a snowball effect. And I just, started committing. Now I commit to at least 100 hours of formal training every year and get to meet a whole lot of folks and hone in on my skills. So I love it.
For starting in 2016, the bulleted list of the shit you've done is that's like a crazy person. You've done like 1 billion gun things since then.
I'm a little obsessed with that.
I would say, or you just really love it because that list is like ridiculous. And so, of course, most people that are listening will have heard. I won't probably be able to get the whole list in, but it's quite a list. So I would imagine that. So let's go into the thing where I asked you that, and I wanted to start off with what was going on in the Black community in guns. This is crazy. Like, it's NAGA and catching on fire. And what has your experience been like with this whole thing, like watching it?
It's been, I don't even know the word to describe it, unreal, honestly, because when I first got into guns, again, I guess I was a little shallow and selfish. I did it just because I needed to relax. And then when all the things started happening, when the police shootings and things started just sort of hitting social media, in 2019 and 2020, and then, of course, COVID coming after that, I started seeing people honestly just panic.
Yeah. And
from my perspective, the only thing I felt like I could do in sort of my little piece of the world was be that representative that we talked about. And I thought, started thinking back to when I first started out, and I thought, well, if people are going to take training anyway, maybe I can save them from some of the negative experiences I've had, because I've had to go to classes and drive down a long dirt road and sit and look at this Confederate flag all day long and hear certain jokes, and homophobic comments. And I've had to sit through those things. And so I thought, well, I'm in a position now where at least I can offer an alternative. And to be honest, that was just kind of how I started. And it blew up from there. And I realized that I have a place and a voice that maybe people need to hear, and I can help some others to do the same so that we start that representation ball a rolling just a little bit.
Yeah. And part of my job is to make sure that this paradigm shift that happens in guns, that ends the monopoly in terms of gun ownership and gun culture being monopolized by conservative white males. That's part of my job, is to help to make sure that that tectonic plate shift has happened, right? Or it's slowly just jumped on top. And part of my job is to get a pry bar underneath that and push so that it just happens. And I think we're there. Oh, yeah. There has been this thing with liberals where for a couple years we were relying on, hey, liberals own guns too. We do guns too. And that was cool for a couple of years, but that's like over. Like everyone who's in guns has any amount of power or has any kind of personality knows that liberals own guns.
Absolutely.
Do guns.
Oh, yeah.
And a goodly percentage of the people that are not doing guns also know that. So if someone is still going, hey, liberals do guns too, they're like a couple years behind. Like that's already done. Like we're done, right? And no one can go, well, if the African Americans start getting it, like you guys are on a rocket ship with this. So I think we're there. Like we shouldn't let off the gas, but at the same time, that paradigm shift has happened. There's Asian groups, gay groups, black groups, liberal, everything left of center. Like is everything. That era is over, and the era of only having the choice to go down that country road and to talk to that asshole with the Confederate flag and the Punisher skull sticker. And that's all, that's also over. And we should continue to work very hard to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. But there are more, I think it's way in the hundreds of opportunities that people have now of getting instruction from somebody that's not that way.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think it's also worth mentioning, firearms in general are not new to African Americans, Native Americans, so forth, so on.
Sure.
I think what we're seeing, though, is economic power, right? I mean, I grew up, there were always shotguns in the house, maybe an occasional rifle. That is not necessarily polarized based on, social aspects or even culture necessarily. Handguns, though, I think are in a different genre. And I think what we're seeing, or the piece that people are forgetting when it comes to women in particular, is we're just now getting to a generation where Black women are the most educated in the country. And with that comes socioeconomic power. They actually have money now. Right. And so there's enough money to go out and buy the handguns. And so I think what we're seeing is a perfect storm. It's not just the social unrest. It's not just COVID. We're also getting a generation of females in general who are financially independent and can go and buy firearms. And I think that's something that has not necessarily been as strong up until now. And I think that's certainly impacting what we're seeing in terms of what's happening at the gun store.
Yeah, and certainly with my conversations with Chad, there's just a faction or a section of the African American community that finally went, oh, wait a minute, this right here, this one with the guns, we need to do that one too.
Right.
Like this is ours too. Like we need to do this. We need full enfranchisement. We need all of them. Right. Yeah. And so and when you have not had that, and I've said it before, I said it to Chad, it's like you're winding up a spring. You're just winding that, you're just compressing that spring and you're compressing it. No, you can't have it. No, you can't have it. And what do you think is going to happen when you take the lid off of that thing and the spring's going to go flying? Right. That's exactly what's happening with the Black community. And I try to stay out of I find the politics of guns to be a black hole.
It is.
And
there's no end. It's not going to be resolved.
And it sucks the soul out of you and the creativity. And I'm not saying we are not going to be involved in it, but you really have to watch it because it can just suck the life out of you. But I do sincerely believe this. I believe that the Democratic Party and the politics of gun control have a comeuppance there's a vector that's way already established that they're going to have to contend with. And that vector is Black people and guns. They are not, at some point, they are not going to be able to, a lot of people say politicians are full of shit and they're lying and they try to just, they leverage their relationship with the Black community to get votes. And okay. Some of that's true, but also they're trying to do good also in the world, I think, as much as a politician can. But they're not going to be able to forever just be like, gun control, and the Black people just need to not do that. Mm-hmm. They need to not do that. They're going to have to change their tune.
Yes.
That's how significant I think it is, that eventually the Democratic parties, they might not stop the gun, like they'll still have a platform of gun control, but they're going to have to adjust it, or they might not get in the White House.
I agree. It's that significant. And once you give people power, you're not going to take it back. Or I should say, once people have taken their power, they're not going to give it back. It's just happened.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you recognize that it's blowing up in the Black community and you had the instinct to go, we can't put this genie back in the bottle. Mm-hmm. We need to do this safely because Black people are people and people do stupid shit.
There you go. If you don't have the training and if you don't have the right heart behind it, you're absolutely right. It can be disastrous.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, and we can all look up the statistics and read all the numbers. Communities that don't have resources are violent communities. And so the way to resolve that, just like when we talk about teaching children, if you don't want your children to shoot themselves by accident, then you teach them gun safety.
Yes.
And it's the same thing in these underprivileged communities. If you don't give them resources, if they're not able to feed their families, and if they're not able to go to a firearms training class to understand how to do things safely and lawfully, then they're not going to.
Yes.
And so we need to have these resources available, even in terms of gun education.
Yes, which is, I always bring up the analogy of standing in the shallows of the ocean. There's two kinds of people. There's the person that goes, oh shit, here comes the wave, and they run to the beach. And then there's the other person that stands there and goes, oh shit, here comes that wave. I'm going right. Because we all know how to dive into the wave to get underneath it. And there's that kind of person. And gun control advocates and people that want guns to be gone from the planet run to the beach and they shake their finger at the wave and go, oh, damn you wave, get rid of these waves. But we're uniquely positioned as gun people because we understand that it's probably going to be more effective that you go into it. Right. There's going to be guns in the Black community. People are going to buy guns for self-defense. You go into that and you teach them how to be safe with their children instead of using your time and your energy to try to ban guns.
Absolutely.
Or whatever, which is why I like the Safe and Secure Project, which is what the Black Bottom Gun Club does. And we helped to seed that in the first year. And I think that I need to know more about the Black community and guns, but I just find that the Black Bottom Gun Club is a phenomenal example of the people that are just doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're doing everything in the community. They're helping youth.
Mm-hmm.
They're teaching safety. They're teaching women, all kinds of stuff. I just think it's phenomenal.
I agree. They're doing amazing work. And they are, in my opinion, a great example of what so many other gun clubs have the potential to be. So I love them. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Chad said they're going to try to do with guns what African Americans did in sports and entertainment. Just crush it and set the tone. And I think that's, it's well needed, and because this whole thing, I have my feelers inside of it all the time. And this thing, even though it changes, it so doesn't want to change.
Right.
It's not a responsive fabric. It's wants to stay right where it's at. And it's nice. It was really nice to meet Chad and to learn about what he's doing, because I just felt like, what the hell, is anything changing? Like, do I need to have another conversation with Michael Sodini about Walk the Talk America, which is an amazing idea, suicide prevention, and no one wants to give him any money from the gun community? It's ridiculous. So I'm heartened by it, and I'm glad all of this stuff is happening. And I'm glad that you guys are doing it, because Okay, excuse me. I so wanted to use the word honky there, but if you're going to leave it to white people, it's like going to stay the same. It's going to stay the same. So thank God you guys are doing that. So I would imagine you, like when you deal with females in self-defense, you're dealing like with the whole spectrum, right? You're dealing with situational awareness. You're dealing with mentality. You're dealing with hand to hand stuff. Is that correct as well?
All of it, yes. And most of it, for most of the ladies I work with, most of it is emotional. Most of it is mental. Most of it, the gun is the easy part. I'll put it that way. Yes.
Yeah. And that's important because there's too much, particularly online, there's too much focus on the gun being the answer and the key to everything. And it's important. It's so important. The gun is so important, but all the other stuff is important as well. How do you guys, I mean, are there specific trainings you've been involved in or specific trainings that you like where you deal with the discrepancies or the gap between perhaps the strength of the female form and the strength of the male form? Like, have you been inside of things like that?
Absolutely. I mean, we see differences even when we talk about situational awareness. Women are much more keen to details, colors, things of that sort. They know how to pay attention, but you would find still in those trainings, so many females really don't know situational awareness and aren't exercising it until you bring it to their attention.
Yeah.
Once you bring it to their attention, they're very keen. They're going to know everything that's going on around them. So you certainly see those differences in that arena. But then also just teaching basic marksmanship. It takes a different level of, I don't know if patience is the word, but certainly just an understanding that women really want a lot more, knowledge before they pull the trigger. They're not going to just, you got to give them more than just the 5 basic fundamentals. They want to know what's going to happen exactly when I pull the trigger. Where does this hand go? What happens when the slide moves? They want all of that detail and intricacy. And so being able to provide that really puts people at ease, which is really nice.
Yeah. And the Queens of Defense. Now you're involved in also, I have it written here, InHERPiece. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So what happened first, InHERPiece or Queens of Defense?
So InHERPiece happened first. I founded that organization in 2020, and it's independent. Now, Queens of Defense is actually a subset of NAGA, the National African American Gun Association. And that started last year. It's actually, basically the brain of called Shania Daniels is the one who came up with it initially. It was in her heart to start this organization embedded within the National African American Gun Association that would specifically deal with the needs of women and making sure they felt heard, making sure they felt safe. And so I came on board to help develop that after doing some work with InHERPiece. And, it's been very exciting. We've worked with quite a few ladies to sort of build a foundation there and build up a program within NAGA to make sure that ladies get the education they need, have the camaraderie they need, and again, that representation as well.
Yeah. And does the Queens of Defense, you basically exists everywhere where there's a chapter for NAGA?
Yes, absolutely. So we have rolled out an ambassador program. So within every NAGA chapter, there's at least one ambassador who basically acts as almost a big sister, is what I call it, right? Someone making sure that there are women's events that are taking place, that if something happens with a young lady or a woman, that they have a safe space, someone they can go to represent their interests. So it's really nice.
And do you guys get crossover? Do you get white ladies and Hispanic ladies, or is this just? Yeah, do you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. National African American Gun Association, as well as InHERPiece, are open to all women. And, we get people from all types of backgrounds, and that's what makes it better, I think.
Yeah. And I'm all about, like, why reinvent the wheel?
Right.
Like, I don't have all of the resources in the world for liberal gun owners to have a segment for Hispanics, a segment for Asians, a segment for gay people, a segment for women, a segment for, if there's already something out there.
Exactly. Don't hate, duplicate, right?
Yeah, totally. So that's good news because, I'm sure that there are other women-based organizations out there. Some of them get on the fucking crazy side of conservative politics and stuff. So this is a good thing to know. That's definitely a good thing to know. And so did you start InHERPiece, or is that?
I founded that in 2020. And the reason is just because, things we've already talked about. I've been at that point, I'd been to many classes, many programs, loved what I was doing, but I still found that there was no one who looked like me. And so by starting this gun club, I've also been a part of many other women's gun clubs, wonderful clubs.
Yeah.
But despite some of their best efforts, even there, no one looked like me. And so InHERPiece, I felt like would be a safe place for everyone to come, especially women who maybe didn't have the funds. This is an expensive hobby. So we were able to develop a business plan that kept membership costs low and made sure that we were bringing top-notch instruction and opportunities to people who otherwise may not be able to afford it or may not be, have access for other reasons. And it's been quite the ride. It's been awesome.
And is InHERPiece like national, or is it just in the North Carolina area, or?
We started in North Carolina, and we just opened up national membership this year. So We've got some a virtual chapter and some chapters across the nation that are trying to get on board. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay. And is there something different that InHERPiece does that from Queens of Defense? Like, well, how would you differentiate between one or the other?
Absolutely. So Queens of Defense is embedded within NAGA. And of course, NAGA has independent clubs. So such as Black Bottom Gun Club, for example, that are basically, it's an affiliate program, if you will. So you can have a gun club any place and be affiliated as a NAGA club. InHERPiece is basically your traditional gun club where there's sort of one umbrella and you are an InHERPiece chapter. So everything is consistent. You share a leadership team, so forth and so on. And that allows us a little bit of leverage in terms of sponsorships and partnerships and things that we do specifically for the ladies. So that's the main difference.
Okay. And InHERPiece would have access to hand-to-hand stuff, situational stuff, and guns, like the whole thing, the whole spectrum.
Yes. And it's controlled completely by ladies. That's the biggest difference. Whereas Queens of Defense is again embedded within NAGA, which is a national organization, but InHERPiece is all ladies for ladies by ladies.
Gotcha. That's good for the label. Put that on the label. People like that label. Right.
Yeah.
Female owned. You guys can have like your own organic drinks and other things, or if you're not,
colors, our own language, everything.
Sure.
Our own, because of Facebook and social media, as you know, things get banned and blocked. So we have created even our own lingo. My husband calls us a gang.
That's cool. You guys are going to be doing signs and stuff like that. You're going to have like, sweet. That's going to be so cool.